Okay, we're going to talk about parentheses, and we're going to talk about order of operations. And what that means is, what do we do first when we're trying to solve an equation? So first of all, I wanted to mention that there are different ways you can write multiplication. You can say 4 times 5, that equals 20. You can use a dot to indicate multiplication. That also equals 20. And you can put them in parentheses like this. This also means 4 times 5, and all of these equal 20. And if one of them was an x or a variable, you could do the same thing. 4 times x would equal 4x. You could put a dot in between, and that would equal 4x. And you could put a 4 and an x each in parentheses. That would equal 4x. And you could just simply write 4x. That means 4 times x. So that's good to know. So first, when you have an equation, it has a lot of things that you need to do. Like 4 plus 3 times 5. I'm going to use a dot in this case to represent multiplication. We'll put a 2 right there. Plus 2 minus 15 minus 3. What does that equal? It's really important to do things in the correct order. Depending on the order of way you would multiply and divide these things, you would get different answers. So mathematicians have set a certain order to go about so that everybody gets the same answer. The first thing that you do is the parentheses. So we're going to go ahead and solve what's in these parentheses first. That's always the first step, right here, the parentheses. So we'll just write the 4 here. 3 times 5 is 15. We're going to put the 2 in the same place that it was. Again, we're going to put the 2 down here, and we're going to solve for what's in these parentheses. 15 minus 3 is 12. Now what do we do first? Do we say 2 plus 2, or do we multiply these together? Because we can, this 15 and this 2 means 15 times 2. Well, the order that we do things is, again, we first do the parentheses. The second thing we do is any multiplication or division that occurs from left to right. That's the second thing. And lastly, we do adding and subtraction from left to right. So let's start right here. I'm going to go right here, and we're going to see, and we're going to stop when we come to the first multiplication problem we see. We're going to skip the 4. We're not going to add 4 plus 15 because we're looking for any time anything is being multiplied. So we stop right here. 15 is being multiplied by 2. So we're going to leave the 4 alone, and we're going to do this multiplication first before we do any adding. 15 times 2 is 30. Now we'll continue on. We have a plus 2, but we don't want to add 30 plus 2 because we have to look for any remaining multiplication problems. There is another one, 2 times 12, and that equals 24. So lastly, now that we got rid of all of the multiplication and or division, now we can look and go ahead and add. So now we can say 4 plus 30 is 34. 34 plus 24 is 58. Now that is how you would do this problem. You do the parentheses first, and then you go in order and find all the multiplication or division. If you accidentally went 4 plus 15 and got 19 and then multiplied that by 2, you would get a completely different answer and it would not be right. So you have to do the multiplication first. We're going to try one more of those. And keep in mind that we do first, we do any parentheses. Second, we do any multiplication or division going from left to right. And then third, we do any adding or subtracting, again, left to right. Okay, so that's how the order we're going to follow this. So if our problem looks like this, 5 plus 2 divided by 2, I said 2, I'm sorry, 12. 12 divided by 2 plus 3 times 4 minus 2, and remember the parentheses in this case means multiply. Okay, we're going to look at this problem. Let's look at our order. First thing we do is solve anything that's in parentheses. Here are our parentheses, so we're just going to rewrite everything. Seems tedious, but until you get the hang of this, it's a very good idea to do that. Here's a parentheses. 5 minus 2 equals 3. Okay, so now what is the next thing? We look for any multiplication or division first, and we move from left to right. So 5 plus 12, we're not going to stop there. We're not going to say 5 plus 12 is 17 because we're not doing pluses. We're still in the multiplication and division step. So we're going to do 5 plus, here we go, 12 divided by 2. So we do have a division. We're going to go ahead and do that. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we'll go ahead and write that. I have a plus 3. We're going to skip the pluses for now, and we're going to move on to, here we go, a multiplication problem. 3 times 4. So that equals 12. So we have 5, and then we did the 12 divided by 2 became 6. Now we have plus 3 times 4, which is 12. Now we have minus 2 times 3. So here's another multiplication problem. 2 with next to a parentheses like that means the same thing as 2 times 3. So that's a multiplication problem. We have to watch the sign and put the minus, but then we do this 6 because 2 times 3 is 6. Now we can go to the third step and add or subtract in order. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 12 is 23. 23 minus 16 is 17. So that's how you do it. Make sure you do the parentheses first, then any multiplication or division, whichever one you come to first, in order, and then the adding and subtracting. Be careful to follow that order or you will get the wrong answer.